I don't buy that suicide is always a cry for help. Sometimes you just don't want help.
Good thing you got some, or you'd have tried again and gotten it right.
Nothing fits.
She's faking. And yes, if she keeps faking, I'm going to eventually do something that will kill her. She figured that the sicker she was, the longer you'd hang on.
We haven't been this close for years.
It's my leg. I swear this is real.
How can she fake that?
She can't.
We all knew social convention isn't on the top of House's priority list, but come on, blaming Kutner's adopted parents for his identity crisis when Kutner himself asked to take their name, that's the opposite of spicy, like vanilla levels of spice. Frozen vanilla. In Antarctica. Very excited to be reacting to House MD's Season 5 Episode 20, Simple Explanation. On this channel, we are reacting to all 177 House episodes, and this will be episode 110. Let's see if I can get the diagnosis before House does as a doctor working in London.
I want to be alone with my wife. I'm a selfish SOB. I never got you to Rio.
I love you.
Help her!
54-year-old woman with acute respiratory failure.
Why is our rainbow coalition missing brown and bi?
13's with the patient and Kutner's dog sick. The patient's illness wasn't caused by her husband unless lung cancer is contagious. She visited her sister in Hawaii about 6 months ago, just before her husband got sick. No tumors, no drugs, no bacteria.
She's demanding to be released so she can get home to her husband.
Eddie,
Found him loitering in the lobby.
you're still with me.
The pageant starts in an hour. You have to do something. It's like she has no idea what's going on around her.
Think of it as Costa Rican sober juice.
She's drunk.
You sneak into mommy's bathroom and gulp some of her mouthwash. You spit it out.
Mommy doesn't.
Whoa, the patient's husband got sick after she was visiting her sister in Hawaii. Could the patient have been swallowing some mouthwash of her own and got herself HIV? The title of the episode is Simple Explanation, and people are generally pretty simple. We eat, we sleep, we poop, and we reproduce. It's no surprise then that 1 in 7 married women have admitted to having an affair. The number is around 1 in 5 for men. The most common reasons for this are seeking excitement, desire, or more affection, and that they've fallen out of love with their partner. Interestingly, women are generally less satisfied in marriage than men, but have higher levels of happiness than their single counterparts in general. Either way, if he has HIV, that could explain both how he got lung cancer and why she's now getting unwell. HIV without treatment sends the immune system on a never-ending slide to failure. It's that system that seeks and destroys cancer cells when they start getting out of line. She could get unwell after him for a number of reasons. Maybe she had a healthier baseline or is less genetically susceptible to the virus. Also, the team did say no tumors, no drugs, no bacteria, which leaves viruses untested, so it could potentially have been missed. You could potentially miss AIDS on a standard blood count, as well as the white cell count can be in range, but when you check the CD4 count specifically, it's plummeted to less than 200. I've suggested this diagnosis probably too much now, but it fits here so well, so it has to be my first diagnostic guess. Let's get more clues.
Treatment worked. Charlotte's breathing's back to normal. She's being discharged.
She can resume her vigil over her husband. He started fading again.
Is that Kutner?
Charlotte.
It's not her airway.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Kutner!
Man, boy, heaven. Oh, God.
Need an ambulance at 410 Willis. Single gunshot wound to the right temple.
Build up, pulse. Come on, Kutner! He's cold.
He didn't say anything to any of you.
His parents were shot right in front of him.
The idiots who worked alongside him for 80 hours a week had seen this coming.
You're blaming us?
We still have a patient.
No. This can't be happening. How did they kill off my favorite character in such a violent way as well? Oh man. The guy who defibrillated a patient in a hyperbaric chamber, broke the world record for crawling 20 miles and had some of the wildest, most unhinged diagnoses I've ever heard of. I never knew his parents were shot in front of him though. Did I miss that from a previous episode? But how do they know it was even him who ended his own life? I mean, who else would want Kutner dead? In all fairness, over a half of patients who end their own life have no mental health diagnosis. Most people just suffer on alone rather than seeking help, and that is way more likely in men. Men die by ending their own lives 3 to 4 times more often than females do, But why is that? A leading theory bases it on traditional gender roles of masculinity and femininity. The traditional male gender role relies on strength, independence, risk-taking and individualism. That means men are less likely to seek help for mental health conditions than women. The differences don't just end there. You see, females are 2 to 3 times more likely to attempt to end their lives, but use methods that are less likely to be immediately lethal, like overdose. That means they're more likely to be found and treated before it's too late. Men are more likely to use immediately lethal methods like firearms, hanging, or carbon monoxide. This is a big deal as almost 1 million people end their lives each year worldwide, and the vast majority are men. Definitely a gender gap that men are not better off in. It's not all doom and gloom though, as there's been some work in this area. For example, the Movember Foundation, who created the trend of men growing mustaches in November to raise awareness of men's health issues, including preventing men ending their lives. The main strategy used is encouraging men to talk about their problems. The data show that this really hasn't changed the statistics, as if anything, things are getting slightly worse. What do you think we could do to get men to seek more support when they're struggling? Answers in the comments. Tab was quite insensitive here, saying that he felt no guilt and redirecting to the patient, but he is right that she's still unwell. Something very interesting is happening here though. Did you notice that the husband was actually standing as the wife got unwell? Why does he get so much better when she gets worse, and vice versa? That makes me think it's probably not HIV, but what else could it be? Well, maybe it's just a stress response releasing cortisol. We know that when we give end-stage cancer patients cortisol, they can feel great for a while until they crash. Let's get more clues.
Maybe we should pass this file off to another doctor.
How many files till it's okay that Kutner's dead?
Polycerasitis would inflame the membranes near her epiglottis and the heart's pericardium, causing the chest pain.
Polycerasitis fits. Start her on indomethacin.
We'd like to go see Kutner's parents.
I'll join you.
I'd like to run one more test on you.
On his 9th birthday, we gave him a chemistry set. Lawrence always loved blowing things up. He spoke so highly of all of you.
What's his name? He was conflicted, been ripped out of his world and stuck into yours. All his Anglo name gave him was the illusion that he was someone he wasn't, leaving him tormented about who he was until finally he put a bullet.
House, go back to the hospital.
I'm sorry about your son.
Indomethacin had no effect. She's still in pain, rules out polycerasitis. I ran a hormone panel on Eddie. His prolactin's above normal.
You haven't asked if I learned anything relevant from the Kutners.
I don't buy that suicide is always a cry for help. Sometimes you just don't want help.
Good thing you got some, or you'd have tried again and gotten it right.
Nothing fits.
She's faking. Yes, if she keeps faking, I'm going to eventually do something that will kill her. You figure that the sicker she was, the longer you'd hang on.
We haven't been this close for years.
It's my leg. I swear this is real. How can she fake that?
She can't.
We all knew social convention isn't on the top of House's priority list, but come on, blaming Kutner's adopted parents for his identity crisis when Kutner himself asked to take their name, that's the opposite of spicy, like vanilla levels of spice, frozen vanilla, in Antarctica. Also, Taub has attempted to end his life before as well. This is too much drama, even for a drama. Clearly the wife wasn't actually faking now though with this new rash on the legs. Seems like that breathlessness was real as well, even though the chest pain was about as real as a fully funded NHS. So what can cause the rash and this sudden breathlessness? Maybe she picked up a parasitic infection while in Hawaii called ankylostrongyliosis or rat lungworm disease. It's a parasite caused by a roundworm in rats that can move to humans. It can stay dormant for a while, then cause severe respiratory complications like breathlessness and potentially rash as well. The treatment could be with antiparasitic agents like mebendazole and potentially cutting out the infected parasite. They need to do a pretty hefty scan to find it, or could scope the lung for worms. That has to be my second diagnostic guess. I still can't believe Kutner's dead. Horrible.
What can shred an epiglottis and make muscle disappear?
MS, weakens myelin sheath, compromises nerve conduction.
You two, stick her in an MRI. And you run the echo on Eddie that you're planning to do behind my back. Did you let me hire a pervert to Kutner's police background check from when he started. He was charged with indecent exposure.
Kutner streaked at the Penn-Dartmouth football game.
I think he always loved me in his way, just not in a spend time with me or show emotion or any affection for me sort of way.
Charlotte.
Chamber walls are barely moving. I'm sorry.
Ruptured spleen means it's not MS. Liver scarred. Whatever she's got, it's spreading.
He hung the bad with the good. His loss beside a reminder of what he'd gained. What am I missing?
You're here for the puzzle.
He didn't kill himself. He was murdered. You run the echo on the husband?
Heart's still failing. The improvement was only temporary.
She could have alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Run her AAT proteins.
He wasn't murdered.
His parents were, and the guy who killed them is coming up for parole. Kutner testified at every one of his hearings.
What happened?
Nurses found her like this. She broke into the cart and injected whatever she could grab.
She was trying to kill herself.
Test was negative for AAT deficiency.
Am I the only one wondering how House just waltzes into a crime scene and there's no police line, the place is empty, and there's still blood on the floor? Surely there are teams for this kind of thing. I love the drama of this episode, but it's been pretty tough to decode the diagnosis amongst all the fake symptoms, and now the patient's doing her best to unalive herself so her husband can have her heart. From what we know so far, she's got a disease that's ravaging her epiglottis, spleen, muscle, and now her liver as well. This could fit with a few things like sarcoidosis, autoimmune hepatitis, lupus, or amyloidosis, but the team have suggested all of those except lupus, and as we all know, it's never lupus. One thing that they haven't suggested that could explain it all is Whipple's disease. It's caused by a rare bacterial infection called Trophorima whipplei. How could she have gotten that bacteria though? Well, it's usually contracted through contaminated food or water, and cases have been known to happen in Hawaii. So her chomping on the local cuisine could have given this belligerent bacteria access to her gut where it lives. From there, it can set off a whole system's inflammatory response that could wreck her epiglottis, muscles, liver, and spleen. She could even infect her husband, and maybe he has it too. Maybe the reason why she keeps getting better is as he gets dehydrated or starves, then so does the bacteria, resolving some inflammation. It's an absolutely wild guess, but all would fit so well. Both of them could be saved with just some antibiotics. You could confirm the diagnosis with a biopsy at the right place. This has to be my third and final diagnostic guess. We are locked in.
Need an incurable romantic to talk to an incurable romantic.
Suicide means you could have helped him. Murder lets you off the hook.
Needs a liver, has a liver. You make a partial donation.
He'd never survive the procedure. He dies on the table, you give her his whole liver.
His fingers have nodules. I think his doctors misdiagnosed him. Failure. Nodules could mean something else, something curable.
The guy who killed Kutner's parents died of an aneurysm 2 months ago.
Find out if you have a chance to save Eddie.
Her heart failure was caused by a fungal infection called cardiac blastomycosis. I'm starting you on itraconazole.
I don't want the treatment. Do the transplant.
You're basically asking us to commit murder.
The idiot is gonna do this with or without us.
I'm not doing this.
I will. Your husband has a curable disease, but he wants to die so he can give you his liver. Are you okay with that? She spiked a fever. LP shows her white cells through the roof. She's infected everywhere.
Infection means we have a new clue.
Is she hiding? Do you really think the beaches in Hawaii were just like the beaches in Rio?
Wait, she was lying about Hawaii? Damn, I have no diagnostic guesses left, but I think I've got this. Leishmaniasis. 97% of South American leishmaniasis cases are in Brazil. It's transmitted by sandflies who can bite you and leave a red, raised, ulcerated bite mark, which takes longer to heal than a usual mosquito bite. Leishmaniasis can cause intermittent fevers, worsening infection, and disease of the liver and spleen, although I'm not aware of it affecting the epiglottis. If left to run its course, it's fatal in 19 out of 20 people. Definitely a dice roll you don't want. It could be treated with antiparasitic agents and diagnosed using biopsies that can actually show the parasite inside the cells. I was on the right lines with infection, but seems like I chose the wrong one. Who knows? Maybe I'm on the wrong lines completely now. Question for you smart people. Have you registered for organ donation, and why have you made the decision you've made? Answers down below.
Disease-bearing sandflies are completely different.
She's never been to Rio.
Who'd you go with? Did you have visceral leishmaniasis?
Last year, there's nobody you knew. I got tired of waiting.
Start her on antimony. Have Cuddy find her a liver.
New York Mercy's medevacing the liver. Should be here.
Tell him to turn around. We diagnosed it too late.
I was right about the infidelity, that it was infection and the disease. Just didn't have enough diagnostic guesses for it. Many people know the pain of firing prematurely, just not like this. Seems like in the end, Taub stayed in the hospital to look after the wife while the rest of them went to Kutner's funeral in a temple and he was created. It was copyrighted music, so I couldn't show it. House found a photo of Kutner looking quite upset and realized it was him ending his own life after all. Really good episode. Love the twists and turns, and obviously huge with the loss of Kutner. 8.5 out of 10 entertainment, 8 out of 10 accuracy, 8.2 out of 10 diagnosis. This episode doesn't make full sense until you watch the previous one where a man is locked inside his own body here.